I and the canary I kept were both liars. She deceived me for 3 years, claiming to be a poor and struggling girl. In truth, she was the daughter of a wealthy family. She also lied to me, saying I was the only one she loved, while secretly rekindling her romance with her first love, and I only lied to her once, saying I was going on a business trip. When she saw me again, I was already married, but when she saw the woman in my arms, she went insane. Chapter 1. In the 3rd year of keeping Willow, my family went bankrupt. In order to save the crisis, my father forced me into a political marriage. That very night, I gathered all my belongings, preparing to elope with Willow. Yet at the club where Willow worked, I saw her clinking glasses with others, carrying herself with a grace that no longer resembled the poor girl I had kept for 3 years. Willow, I heard the George family's luck has run out, and now they rely on their son marrying into money. Aren't you going to step in and save your boyfriend? What boyfriend? That was just Willow's pastime when she was lonely and bored. Willow's real boyfriend is about to return from abroad. By then she'll cut ties with that fool George and seamlessly reconnect with her true lover. Isn't Willow clever? Not leaving even a gap in between. Say what you will, George is handsome, well-built, good in bed, and willing to spend money. Willow made a fortune out of him. But still, Willow, the little princess of City A, being mocked as a canary every day, she really has patience. It's been 3 years, and George still hasn't realized that Willow isn't an employee of this club, but its owner. How could he be such an idiot? The room erupted in laughter, glasses clinking in cheer, while Willow slowly and gracefully replied to my text message. It was the one I had sent her half an hour earlier. Willow, shall we elope? My phone buzzed. Lowering my head, I saw a mocking reply, just the single word, sure. Eloping. Where could he possibly go? He's his family's cash cow now. He wouldn't make it one step before being dragged back to marry. Willow set down her glass and casually pulled a cheap watch off the wrist of a nearby male escort. Someone teased. Another gift for George? Last time it was a 99 yuan silver ring. The time before a stall-bought tie. George may be a rich young master, but his taste is pitiful. Him? He likes whatever I give him. That silver ring, he wouldn't even take it off after wearing it. I stood frozen, fingers touching the ring on my hand, my heart pierced with pain. When she gave it to me, I was truly happy, thinking she was hinting at marriage. I never thought it was just a cheap trinket she handed me without thought. So Willow had been lying to me from the very start. 3 years. She had pretended to be poor in front of me for 3 whole years, but I had loved her with all my heart, showered her with clothes, jewelry, cars, and villas. When others mocked her as a canary, I defended her with a cold face. In her eyes back then, how laughable must I have been? I don't know how I made it home. All I remember is the pouring rain along the way, and once home, I collapsed with a raging fever. In my delirious dreams, scenes of our 3 years together replayed. 3 years ago, heartbroken and drunk, I had met Willow in a bar, cornered and harassed by a group of men. I don't know where my pity came from, but I stepped in and saved her. After that night, I couldn't stop thinking about her pitiful and helpless expression, worrying if she would be bullied again. So the second time we met, I offered to keep her, so she would never have to fear again. After that day, our relationship accelerated. I gave her money. She gave me emotional value. We strolled, shopped, and watched movies together like ordinary lovers. For 3 years, I had always been the one in control. I thought I would never fall for her. Yet when I was forced into marriage, I collapsed completely. The night I had a fierce quarrel with my father, I went to Willow and asked, if I had no money, would you still love me? Willow kissed me tenderly and said, of course, Willow, even if I lose everything, I'll never let you suffer. You have to believe me. Afterward, I began selling everything of value to prepare for our escape, fantasizing about starting a new life with Willow in another city. Until tonight, I thought I was about to step into a brand new life, but instead I stumbled into a bloody scam. Willow had been deceiving me all along. After that night, my fever subsided, and Willow returned. She hugged me from behind, but the fragrance she wore wasn't the perfume I liked. I had to work all night. I'm exhausted. I got my paycheck, so I bought you a gift. She pulled out that cheap second-hand watch and fastened it on my wrist with her own hands. It suits you. Do you like it? I said flatly, I like it. Willow sensed something was wrong. In the past, no matter what she gave me, I would be touched like a child, always telling her she didn't need to give me gifts, that having her by my side was the greatest gift. You don't seem to like it that much. I forced a smile. Maybe I won't have much money in the future. Don't waste money recklessly. She thought I was worrying about the Wang family's bankruptcy. Willow tiptoed and kissed the corner of my lips. Don't worry. I've been saving all the pocket money you gave me, and I also have my salary from the club. Worst case, I'll be the one to support you. I smiled without answering, pushing her toward the shower. When the sound of rushing water came from the bathroom, Willow's phone buzzed. I saw a flirtatious text message. Willow, Thank you for staying with me all night. I can't believe after 3 years, you still remember the perfume scent I like. In that moment, I could no longer smile. So the perfume she suddenly wore was the scent another man liked. While I was suffering from a high fever, she was by another man's side. I was exhausted, my heart completely dead. If 3 years hadn't warmed her heart, then there was no need to keep trying. I stepped onto the balcony and dialed my father's number. Dad, I'll agree to the marriage alliance before I change my mind. Make it happen as soon as possible. Willow, since I was the one who started this, let me be the one to end it. Chapter 2. After showering, Willow wrapped her arms around my waist, her fair and slender hands slipping under my shirt. By the time I wanted to stop her, it was already too late. She pushed me onto the bed, straddled me, kissing my lips. Just as she was about to go further, her phone rang. Seeing the caller, Willow froze for a moment, then immediately answered. Willow, my stomach condition suddenly flared up. Can you come with me to the hospital? With a gentle tone, Willow comforted the man on the other end. Wait for me. Don't worry, I'll be right there. After hanging up, she kissed me apologetically. Another part-time job suddenly needs someone to fill in. I have to go quickly. I spoke calmly. Didn't I tell you not to work so hard? These are different times now. I know your family's in trouble, so I have to work even harder to support you. Willow pinched my cheek with a smile, changed her clothes, and left. It wasn't until late at night that Willow returned. Seeing something missing at home, she realized that all the couple's items between us were gone. Those were the things I had carefully chosen on our dates and brought back for us. Why did you suddenly start tidying up? Didn't you like those things? That's why you bought them. Casually tossing a few more items into the trash, I brushed it off. I don't like them anymore. I'll replace them next time I see something I like. Willow quickly grabbed my hand. It's so late. Where are you going? Tonight I'm going home. Ever since I started living with Willow, I rarely went back home. During the time I loved her most, only by holding her in my arms could I fall asleep peacefully. I gave her a smile, then picked up my luggage and walked out the door. Once I got in the car, a call came from the broker. Mr. Wong, if you sell this house urgently, you'll lose quite a bit. Are you sure? If you don't have any objections, I'll put it on the market. Price isn't the problem. The sooner it's sold, the better. This villa was something I had bought for Willow 3 years ago. In the study, the bathroom, the balcony, everywhere carried traces of our intimacy. Even after my family's downfall, I still thought about how I could leave something behind for Willow, to secure her future. But as it turned out, she didn't need any of it. She knew full well my family had gone bankrupt, knew I was being forced into marriage, yet she stood by idly. When I most needed money, she still put on an act of being poor before me. I gave a self-mocking smile. Just then, a text arrived on my phone. Someone wanted to meet me. Mr. Wong, my name is Makoto, Willow's ex-boyfriend. I'm sure she never mentioned me. 3 years ago, I went abroad to study because of my dream, and she quarreled with me out of spite. But we never officially broke up. Once I return to this country, she will definitely come back to me. Last night, she didn't come home the whole night. Aren't you curious where she was? Don't tell me you really thought she was so poor that she had to work an all-night shift at the club. After speaking, Makoto slid a bank card across the table toward me. I know you're short of money right now. There's 30 million here. You can use it as emergency funds. But I have one condition. Leave Willow. Chapter 3. My throat was dry, and I found it a little laughable. Paying someone off with money had always been my specialty. Yet I never thought the day would come when I would be the one being paid off. Does Willow know you're making decisions behind her back? Makoto smiled. You probably don't know how deep my relationship with Willow was. Back then, we almost got married. Because I love the sea, she went with me to a different island every year for vacation. Because I missed the taste of my childhood, she bought a private kitchen just to make my favorite food whenever I wanted. On her chest, there's a tattoo of a rose-shaped ring. That was my promise of a wedding ring, and I was the one who tattooed it on her. Do I need to tell you about Willow's family background too? You've been with her for 3 years, yet you don't even know who she really is. Do you still think she loves you? A chill spread through me. So all her preferences were because of Makoto. Mr. Wong, you thought you were keeping her, but in truth, she only treated you as my substitute. Makoto's smile grew sharper. Do you believe that with just one phone call, she would come to me immediately? Want to bet on it? Countless emotions surged through my chest in that instant, but eventually, they all sank into calm. I thought of the first birthday we spent together. She bought an ugly, tasteless, cheap cake, yet I still felt it was the best cake I had ever eaten. That day, she made me make a wish, and I said, I hope Willow will spend my birthday with me again next year. Willow smiled and promised, from now on, I'll be with you every birthday. And there was another time, when I got drunk and ended up in a fight because of her. When Willow arrived and saw me injured, she held me in distress and whispered, don't ever fight because of me again. I'll never let you get hurt for my sake. Those promises and tenderness meant nothing to her, but I had taken them all seriously. Clenching my palm, I forced a smile. I'll do as you wish. I'll leave her, but not because of anything you said tonight. Hearing the answer he wanted, Makoto didn't bother with more words. With the air of a victor, he stood up and left. In the following days, I was busy dealing with the marriage alliance, and Willow never once sought me out, until I went to the club and saw Willow by the bar counter. She seemed distracted the whole night, constantly glancing in another direction, not even noticing my arrival. Following her gaze, I saw she had been watching Makoto the entire time. Makoto was surrounded by women, all of them eager to cling to him. What are you doing? This is a public place. Have some respect. When Makoto's voice rang out, Willow's expression darkened. She rushed forward, grabbed a wine bottle, and smashed it over one of the women's heads. She shielded Makoto behind her, her stance so fierce that no one dared to move recklessly. My heart nearly stopped. I had never seen Willow's emotions fluctuate so violently, but today, she was angry for Makoto. The hand that had touched Makoto was directly broken by Willow's order, and from then on, no one dared disrespect him. When Willow finally left with her people, those women were immediately thrown out of the club as well. Passing by one of the private rooms, I overheard a man's low, suppressed voice. Willow, don't treat me so well. Did you forget you have a boyfriend? If he finds out, he won't be happy. I don't have a boyfriend. He was only your substitute. Chapter 4. Through the half-opened door, I saw Willow clinging to Makoto, kissing him passionately. After hearing Willow's words, I froze in place. So Makoto hadn't lied to me. I really was just Willow's pastime when she was bored. Yet I foolishly believed I was her great benefactor. But what the truth was no longer mattered. After all, I would be leaving her soon. I let out a silent laugh. Just as I was about to turn and leave, thick smoke suddenly drifted into the hallway. Fire! It's on fire! The alarm rang out, and the entire club instantly descended into chaos. I was shoved to the ground by the surging crowd, struggling to get up, only to be trampled again. When I looked up, I saw Willow clutching Makoto's hand, rushing toward safety. Instinctively, I wanted to go to her, shouting her name with all my strength. In the crowd, Willow seemed to hear me. She turned and saw me, bloodied and crushed beneath the stampede. Her body jolted. For a split second, she looked as if she wanted to come back. Then, noticing something wrong with Makoto beside her, she hesitated and finally left without looking back. I was stunned. The woman who once swore she would share weal and woe with me, in the moment of true crisis, looked right past me. Taking a deep breath, I forced myself to crawl to the wall, got back on my feet, and stumbled with the crowd toward the exit. Only when I was pushed out of the club and confirmed safe did my legs give out, nearly collapsing to the ground. So close. I had almost lost my life. After steadying my breath, I looked up, and suddenly locked eyes with Willow not far away. Her expression was filled with an urgency and regret I couldn't read. Yet she remained by Makoto's side, not taking even one step toward me. Was she afraid Makoto would misunderstand? I gave a faint laugh, clambering up in embarrassment, my eyes slowly reddening. Once, she was the one who panicked even over the smallest cut on my hand, insisting I rush to the hospital. But now, in Willow's eyes, there was only Makoto. I went home alone, took out the medicine box, disinfected, dressed my wounds, and fell asleep groggy on the sofa. When I woke up, it was already past midnight. Willow, unsurprisingly, hadn't come back. I didn't ask where she had been. By dawn, as I was about to leave, I ran into Willow rushing home from outside. The moment she saw me, she threw her arms around me, carefully looking over my injuries. Did you go to the hospital? Does anything still hurt? I stared blankly at her. Didn't she realize that putting on this act now was far too late? I'm sorry, George. That man yesterday was my brother. He's been terrified of fire since childhood, so I couldn't leave him. Brother. She had even gone so far as to invent an identity for Makoto. Even if he wasn't your brother, it wouldn't matter. Willow, I can't afford to support you anymore. From now on, you're free. Willow's expression changed instantly. She flung herself into my arms. What do you mean? You're dumping me just because you're tired of me? George, I won't accept it. You promised to take responsibility for me. I shook my head helplessly and slowly pushed her away. Willow, it was just fun. Don't take it so seriously. I didn't treat you badly these 3 years. Now that I'm bankrupt, do you still want to squeeze me dry? Willow clung to me tightly, refusing to let go, kissing my lips with force. No matter what, I won't leave you. Don't think you can get rid of me so easily. Chapter 5. Perhaps she sensed the change in my attitude toward her. In the following days, Willow stuck to me closely, never leaving my side. To make up for the guilt she felt that night, she specially booked a cruise ship candlelight dinner for me. The cruise restaurant was decorated in a medieval British style, with the boundless sea just outside the window. When the waiter brought flowers and red wine, Makoto also appeared, patting Willow's head in surprise. What a coincidence. Willow, you're here for dinner too. My expression froze instantly. There are never so many coincidences in this world, only deliberate planning. No wonder she suddenly brought me to such a place. It turned out it was only so she could accidentally run into Makoto. Mr. Wang, do you mind if I join you for dinner? I had no room to refuse, for Willow had already pulled out a chair for Makoto, more than happy to have him there. When ordering, Makoto teased with a smile, "You ordered all my favorite dishes. Why didn't you ask Mr. Wang what he wanted?" Willow slid the menu in front of me, her tone soft. "See if there's anything you want." I shook my head. "You decide." The meal was tasteless. Makoto and Willow had endless things to talk about, while I sat there like an extra. I got up, wanting some fresh air, but ended up in another section. As I passed one of the private rooms, I was shoved inside by force. Inside were several socialites who had once coveted me. "No wonder you looked familiar. It's George. Since you're here, why not keep us company? Mr. Wang used to be so aloof, impossible to invite. Now that you've fallen, you're just here as a plaything too." I frowned. These were women who had chased me for a long time, and because I had rejected them before, they bore grudges against me. "Sorry, I have something to do. I'll be leaving." I turned to go, but the next moment the door was blocked. A chill crept up my back. "George, I advise you not to refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. Times have changed. Behave yourself and you'll suffer less. Otherwise, don't blame us if we don't hold back." One of their bodyguards twisted my arm and began pouring liquor into my mouth straight from the bottle. I gasped for breath, then kicked the man hard, grabbing an ashtray coldly. "I warn you, don't push me. Otherwise what? I don't believe we can't deal with you." The bodyguard kicked me hard, pain blurring my vision. My footing faltered, and I nearly collapsed. Another kick struck my chest. I fell, my forehead slamming against the corner of the table, blood gushing instantly. Seeing blood only made the women more excited, as they continued to force liquor into my mouth. "Tonight I'll sleep with you. Stop pretending to be some innocent boy." Before the words even faded, the private room door was slammed open in fury. Willow rushed in, eyes blazing red. She grabbed a wine bottle and slashed it across the leading woman's face. "How dare you bully my boyfriend? I won't let you get away with this." Like a madwoman, she slashed that woman's face to ribbons, finally stomping on her face and forcing her to kneel and beg me for forgiveness. Only when others intervened did Willow finally relent. She pulled me up and hurried away. On the way to the hospital, her hands trembled as she carefully wiped the blood from my forehead. "I'm sorry. I never should have chosen that place for dinner. It's all my fault." I no longer knew how much truth or falsehood was in her words. All I knew was, this was no coincidence. Among that group, someone had clearly recognized her, which was why they dared not fight back. My eyes reddened as I asked, "You offended them for me. Aren't you afraid they'll come after you?" Willow pressed her forehead to mine, her voice thick with suppressed emotion. "I'm not afraid. Nothing is more important than you." If I didn't already know she had been lying to me all along, perhaps I really would have been moved to tears by that sentence. Unfortunately, everything was false. I could no longer believe a single word she said. The car was deathly silent, until Willow's phone rang, breaking it. The next second, her body tensed, and her face grew pale. "George, can you go to the hospital by yourself?" I froze, my lips curling into a bitter smile. The car pulled over, and she hurriedly got out. Her figure gradually disappeared in the rearview mirror, and only then did I start laughing, until tears streamed uncontrollably down my face. I remembered the voice I'd heard on the phone just now. "Willow, Makoto's in trouble. Come back quickly." Chapter 6. I went to the hospital alone to treat my wounds. The doctor reminded me to return in 3 days to change the bandages. During those 3 days, Willow didn't call me even once. When I saw a friend request on my phone, I accepted it almost unconsciously. Makoto's WeChat posts read like a love diary, recording in detail every moment he shared with Willow after returning to the country. She cooked personally for Makoto, feeding him bite by bite with her own hands. Every day she brought him expensive gifts in different ways, just to keep him happy, worried he would be bored while staying in the hospital. She searched through endless joke collections, telling cold jokes to him late at night, coaxing him to sleep. She took care of Makoto with patience, promising him a surprise once he was discharged. I stared at all this indifferently, and for a moment, I recalled the early days with Willow. Back then, I often got drunk at social events, and Willow would wait at the club entrance to take me home. When I was vomiting endlessly, it was always Willow who stayed by my side to take care of me. I actually believed she had some true feelings for me. Even if that affection was built upon money, I didn't mind. But now I finally realized, I had always thought I was the one treating Willow as a pastime in my loneliness. Yet in reality, I was Willow's greatest amusement. That night I drank too much again, haunted by the same dream over and over. In the dream, I asked Willow if she was willing to marry me. I waited a long time, but Willow never gave me an answer. Anxiety, pain, and then, I saw Willow's eyes, full of complicated emotions. Why are you crying even in your sleep? I touched my face and realized I had actually shed tears. Taking a deep breath, I tried to steady the turmoil in my chest. I dreamt that you said you didn't love me, that you never thought of marrying me. I lied casually, and as I lowered my gaze, I missed the flash of shock in Willow's eyes. She hugged me tightly, her tone flustered. Is it because I didn't come back these few days and you missed me? Don't overthink. Who else could I possibly marry if not you? Darling, it's just that I'm not good enough yet. I don't deserve you right now. When I've earned as much money as you, I'll marry you immediately. Okay. I smiled faintly and said nothing more. Quietly, I pushed her away, but she immediately pulled me back down to sit. Didn't you say you wanted this place's breakfast last time? I waited 2 hours in line just to get it for you. Here, eat. At that same moment, a message came from Makoto. How's the breakfast? I only mentioned it casually, yet she rushed to buy it for me. I even reminded her to buy you one too. Is it the flavor you like? Suddenly, I felt everything was meaningless. I raised my hand and tossed the food into the trash. Willow thought I was still sulking, and her expression instantly darkened. Willow, I'm allergic to eggs. Chapter 7. A trace of guilt flashed across Willow's face. She hugged me in comfort. I'm sorry, darling. I was so busy I forgot. I'll make it up to you next time. The next day, Willow mysteriously pulled me into the car, saying she wanted to give me a surprise. Half an hour later, I was brought to a jewelry store. Watching Willow carefully select a pair of rings, I couldn't help but frown. Why did you bring me here? Haven't you always wanted to get married? I brought you to pick out couple rings. If you see something you like, we can buy it first. Willow's tone was calm, but it made bitterness rise in my chest. Buy them for what? Just as decoration. Although I didn't understand what Willow really wanted, I did indeed need to choose wedding rings for my upcoming marriage. Patiently, I tried on one ring after another. Finally, Willow pointed to the last pair of wedding bands and told the clerk, this pair, adjust the size and deliver it to this address. She wrote down the villa address, then came to my side, her warm breath brushing against my ear. Darling, your hand is so perfect for a ring. I deliberately said, this pair of wedding rings must be expensive. Right, let me pay. It's just a pair of rings. I can afford it. She held my hand, then suddenly noticed the silver ring I had always treasured was gone. Startled, she asked, where's the ring? I pulled my hand back and said flatly, I was afraid of losing it, so I put it away. It's not worth much. If it gets lost, I'll buy another one. Just give me a little more time. When I've saved enough, I'll buy you an even more expensive wedding ring. By then, we'll get married. Hearing the same lie again only left me with endless ridicule and cold laughter inside. Willow stroked the mark left by my old ring, lifted it to her lips and kissed it lightly. But when her eyes passed over me, her expression suddenly changed. Keep looking around. I'll go buy you something delicious. She hurried out before I could respond. Sensing something was wrong, I immediately followed. When I caught up, I saw, at the intersection ahead, a serious car accident had occurred. Makoto lay in a pool of blood, and Willow, though injured herself, clutched him tightly, refusing to let go. When the two were carried into the ambulance, Willow, with her last ounce of strength, gripped the nurse's hand. Save him first. I stood frozen, staring at the ambulance as it sped away. That couple must have been arguing. I saw the man storm into the street out of anger, and the woman ran after him, only to be hit as well. I think the woman's injuries are even worse. Before the accident, the woman was begging the men to forgive her. Now look at them, both ended up in tragedy. My head buzzed as I clutched my chest, bending over from the pain that felt like my heart was being torn apart. Seeing it with my own eyes, I finally understood. This was what it meant when Willow truly loved someone. I tugged at the corner of my lips weakly. There was no anger, no rage, only the absurdity of having been deceived for 3 years. Chapter 8. The memories of the past 3 years flashed before my eyes like a lantern slide. When I drank too much at social gatherings and my stomach pain flared up, she gently massaged my abdomen, saying with heartache, if only I could take the pain for you. When I quarreled with my father and received a slap, she lost control at the sight of the red mark on my face, wanting to storm into the Wong household to demand justice for me. On a stormy night, when I was gravely ill, she dragged me step by step to the hospital, patting me through my nightmares and whispering comfort. Don't be afraid, I'll always be by your side. Even now, I can no longer tell whether she was simply too good at acting, or if I was too foolish, so foolish as to truly believe she liked me. Those moments of tender words and affectionate glances, who did she really see when she looked at me? I was tired. Slowly, I closed my eyes. On the third day, I went back to the hospital to change my bandages. Passing by the wards, I overheard the nurses chatting. That couple who came in a few days ago, the woman's wealthy and powerful. I heard she booked an entire VIP floor for her boyfriend's recovery. Today, the moment she woke up, she rushed to see him, but the man's still angry, refusing to forgive her. The woman's injured too, Yet she won't leave, softly coaxing him. It's the first time I've seen a woman love a man like this. Even TV dramas wouldn't dare write it this way. My heart jolted, and I went to the VIP floor. From inside a ward, I heard a familiar voice. Turning my head, I saw Makoto leaning against Willow, accusing her. Willow, are you still blaming me for insisting on going abroad back then? These past 3 years, every moment I regretted it, wishing I could finish my studies sooner and come back to you. I promised I'd make up for the lost years. But why did you lie to me? Willow explained tenderly. I never lied to you. You've always been the only one in my heart. Then what about George? You even took her to buy wedding rings. Did you really plan to marry her? Her father's been looking for a marriage alliance everywhere. Don't tell me you were tempted. Makoto, listen to me. She accompanied me for 3 years at least. I only wanted to make her happy one last time before telling her the truth. After all, she never wronged me. I wanted us to part peacefully. But I never forgot my promise to you. In this life, I will only marry you. The anger on Makoto's face slowly faded. Then break up with her immediately. I don't want to see you with her again. You can only belong to me. At the perfect moment, Willow nestled into his arms, soothing him softly. All right, I'll do whatever you say. From a few steps away, I forced a faint smile. Lovers reunited. How nice. I didn't look further. I turned and entered the elevator. Back at the villa, I packed the last of my luggage. Just then, my father called. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Flight to City C. The Su family will be there to pick you up at the airport. Got it. I'll be on time. Right after I hung up, Willow returned. Airport, where are you going? I answered calmly, nothing serious. A business trip, to negotiate work in another city. Chapter 9. Hearing my answer, Willow let out a sigh of relief. She quickly packed a few clothes and explained, I found a new part-time job. I'll be away for training for a few days. Darling, I'll miss you when I can't see you. I responded coldly with a hum. Most likely, she just wanted to stay by Makoto's side to care for him. I went into the cloakroom. Everything inside was clothes and gifts I had bought her over the past 3 years. The things she gave me were pitifully few. That very night, I signed the contract to sell the house, leaving all follow-up matters entirely in the hands of the agency. On the last night before leaving, I said farewell to old friends I hadn't seen in a long time. Halfway through the drinking, I went outside with a headache to get some fresh air. From the second floor, I looked down. The courtyard on the first floor had been reserved and decorated lavishly. It was obvious someone was preparing a proposal. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught sight of Willow. She wore a pure white haute couture gown, untouchably elegant. Makoto's eyes were red as he watched her approach, while the proud and beautiful woman solemnly presented him with a delicate bouquet. Makoto, will you marry me? Tears brimmed in Makoto's eyes. Amid the cheers of the crowd, he nodded. Willow threw herself into his arms and kissed him. The next moment, 1,000 drones rose into the night sky above the river, forming words of her love, until at last the light spelled out, Makoto, marry me. So this was Willow's proposal scene. I had imagined countless times what kind of proposal she would like. Now I had my answer, except she was proposing to someone else. I had never thought she would love Makoto so much that she would lower herself and take the initiative to propose. But then, who said a proposal must always come from the man? Darling, just wait for me a little longer. When I can afford what I want, then I'll marry you without guilt. Darling, wait until I'm ready. Darling, those sweet words of comfort still rang in my ears. Back then, I really believed I would wait for this day. But the truth was, though she clearly could have helped me, she chose instead to watch coldly as I was forced into a marriage alliance. Indifferent and unmoved, I wanted to ask her, was there ever a moment when she was truly sincere with me? But there was no need anymore. I let out a self-mocking laugh and turned back into the private room. We played until dawn. Dragging my suitcase, I went straight to the airport. My phone buzzed. It was Willow. Darling, what time is your flight? Remember to tell me when you arrive. Don't make me worry. Even now, Willow was still acting. I glanced at the message, then deleted and blocked all her contact information. As the plane took off, all my memories shattered like fragments in my mind. 3 years of misplaced affection was nothing more than a dream. When the dream ended, I was off to marry someone else. Goodbye, Willow. In this life, we'll never meet again. Chapter 10. Until night fell, Willow still hadn't received any word from George. She tried calling, but his phone remained switched off. Where on earth had he gone? Flying for an entire day. The liveliness of the villa felt completely out of place to her. Her heart was clenched tightly by an invisible hand, filled with an indescribable panic. Willow, what's wrong? You've been gloomy all night. Do you have something on your mind? Or, did that George of yours give you trouble again? Willow shook her head. It's nothing. I'm just a bit tired. So when are you planning to come clean with him? We're already about to get married. How long can you keep hiding it? Hearing this, the others also joined in, echoing Makoto. If I were you, Willow, I wouldn't be able to stand it. George only wants your looks and body. He definitely doesn't love you just because he has a little money. He thinks he's so great, when in reality, money is the one thing you'll never lack. Exactly. I can't wait to see his expression when he finds out who you really are. He'd never imagine that the woman lying beside him is the very one who could have saved him from his downfall. Just one word from you, Willow, and the Wong family could rise from the ashes, and he wouldn't have been forced into a marriage alliance. By the way, what happened with that marriage alliance? Haven't heard which family the Wongs finally chose. Don't tell me George actually refused to the very end just because of you, Willow. The crowd burst into laughter. The more they joked, the more restless Willow became. George was not the kind of man who wouldn't dare such a thing. When his father found out he was keeping a mistress, he stormed over furiously, cursing George as disgraceful and immoral. But George stood firmly in front of her, taking his father's slap head on. What had happened? Why did her mind keep drifting back to George? She had once thought that as long as Makoto returned to her side, she would cut ties with George without hesitation. After all, George was nothing more than a pastime to relieve her boredom. Yet now, a deep unease spread within her, as if she had personally lost something important. George was such a proud man. If he ever learned the truth, how would he react? Willow didn't dare to imagine. For 3 years, he had treated her so well it was as if he had given her everything. That night, when he asked her to elope, it must have been because he was cornered by the forced marriage, with nowhere else to turn. But after that, he never brought it up again. Could it be? Was he angry with her? Angry that she hadn't taken him away? Willow, are you having second thoughts? Makoto's voice held hesitation. Everyone knew of Willow and Makoto's long history. Even though they had been apart for 3 years, no one believed they would truly separate. Everyone thought Willow loved Makoto madly. She herself believed that, too, that with just one word from him, she would give him everything. So that day, when Makoto asked for a formal ceremony to be together, she agreed without hesitation. She was used to giving him whatever he wanted. But with George, in 3 whole years with him, she hadn't given him a single proper gift. Yet George never once complained. Even when she simply cooked him a bowl of noodles, he could be happy the entire night. Unconsciously, Willow pulled out her phone and opened the chat window with George. Makoto noticed and immediately grew displeased. Willow, don't tell me, you actually enjoyed being kept by him. Chapter 11. Willow suddenly snapped back to her senses. What was she doing? Makoto was the one she had chosen. How could George ever compare to him? I was just thinking about how to tell George the truth. When he comes back this time, I'll explain everything, and then we'll formally prepare for our wedding. Willow lifted her hands to cradle Makoto's face. Why are you still upset? I've told you countless times, I only love you. Apart from you, everyone else is just a compromise. This was the man she had waited 3 years to finally have back. How could she possibly let him be unhappy? In the days that followed, Willow and Makoto were inseparable. They embraced, kissed, dated, just like before, as if time had turned back to many years ago. Willow cooked 3 meals a day for Makoto herself. Even after 3 years apart, she still remembered his tastes perfectly. She carefully treated his wounds, supporting him tenderly up and down the stairs. During leisure hours, Makoto would hold Willow to watch movies, telling her that though he had been abroad these 3 years, he thought of her constantly. To Makoto, Willow was indispensable to his life. When he left back then, he had known clearly Willow would definitely wait for his return, so he had never once felt threatened, certain that Willow's heart would always belong to him alone. But over those 3 years, he gradually heard rumors that Willow had been living with another man. Their relationship had lasted 3 whole years. Panic grew within him, fearing she might truly fall for someone else. When he first heard Willow was being kept by a rebellious man, Makoto thought she was just amusing herself out of boredom. But now, sometimes when he caught her staring blankly at her phone, his heart would pound in fear, terrified she was thinking of George. Willow, let's go choose wedding rings tomorrow. I want to hold the wedding as soon as possible. All right. He wrapped his arm around Willow's waist and kissed her lips. As long as they married quickly, Willow would never leave him. She loved him so much, George could never be his rival. The next day, Willow and Makoto went to pick out wedding rings, at the very same store she had once visited with George. The clerk recognized her and stepped forward. Miss Liu, the couple rings you ordered last time were delivered to the address you gave, but they were returned. Do you still want them? Returned. But George clearly liked them. Was it because she had left in such a rush that day, and he got upset? Her eyes lowered, a trace of hesitation flashing across her dark pupils. Her thoughts drifted to George again. What was he doing now? After the Wong family's bankruptcy, he had worked tirelessly to persuade former partners, only to be rejected again and again. Flying alone this time to negotiate business, would he be bullied? George had once been so proud and unyielding. Yet for her, he had offended many people. She could still clearly remember the drunken but determined George, promising her, As long as I'm keeping you, I'll never allow anyone else to bully you. Willow, you're mine. I'll protect you. If anyone bullies you, it'll only ever be me. For the first time in her life, a man had said he would protect her. Makoto tried several rings but was dissatisfied, until at last, he set his eyes on the very one George had returned. Willow, I want this pair. All right. Irritation rose in Willow's heart, but she forced herself to nod. Whatever you like, as long as you're happy. After sending Makoto home, she made an excuse to go out, only to find herself, unconsciously, back at the villa she once shared with George. Chapter 12. The villa lights were on. It seemed George had already returned. For so many days, he hadn't called or sent a single message. In the past, he always wanted her to pick him up after work, but this time, he came back in silence. Willow sat in the car for a long time, wondering how to soften her attitude when she saw him. George was easy to coax. Every time she upset him, she always found a way to cheer him up effortlessly. That's why she was never afraid of George truly being angry with her. She was only thinking about how to deal with their relationship. After some thought, Willow took out a delicate jewelry box from the car. Inside lay a men's ring set with diamonds. While picking out rings with Makoto, this one had caught her eye immediately. She felt it suited George perfectly. George would definitely be happy to receive it. Just imagining his smiling eyes when pleased made Willow's heart itch. She couldn't wait to see him. She took the ring, got out of the car, and walked to the villa door. As usual, she entered the code, only to see incorrect password. She tried several more times, until the lock was disabled. She could no longer attempt. Willow grew restless. He really was angry. He had even changed the password. George, open the door for me, please. I have a gift for you. In the past, the cheap little gifts she brought home were always enough to make him dizzy with joy. He pitied her hard-earned money, yet whatever she gave, he treated like treasure, carefully preserving them. Would it be the same this time? She called out several times, but no one answered. She dialed his number, only to hear the mechanical female voice. The number you have dialed is powered off. Her patience wore thin. She called someone to break the lock. Inside, the lights were on, but no one was there. Only when she stepped inside did Willow feel a trace of calm. She went upstairs, intending to bathe, change clothes, and wait for him to return. Then she would give him the ring, and tell him she shouldn't have left so abruptly last time when they went to choose couple rings. But from the living room to the second-floor bedroom, she suddenly realized the house was empty. The bedroom held nothing, not even a bed frame, just a mattress. Her heart sank. She rushed to open the closet, the dressing room, the bathroom, nothing. When she searched the entire villa, she discovered every trace of her and George had been wiped clean. The place was spotless, as if no one had ever lived there. Her brows furrowed tightly, until a startled voice came from the door. Who are you? How dare you trespass into my home? A strange man stood there, claiming it was his house. Willow frowned coldly. And who are you? What does this house have to do with you? Miss, I bought this house a week ago. If you don't believe me, I can show you the contract. But you broke the lock to get in. What are you trying to do? Willow froze. Those words struck her like thunder, her mind buzzing. A week ago, that was when George said he was going on a business trip. He had already sold the villa back then. Her chest felt crushed under a boulder, suffocating her. Her face turned pale, nearly making her collapse. He had silently sold the house, without saying a word, and never once tried to contact her again. Her mind spun in chaos. With trembling hands, she sent him a message on WeChat. Darling, where are you? But suddenly, a red exclamation mark appeared on the screen. At that moment, Willow couldn't hold it in anymore. She smashed her phone to the ground with force. The phone shattered into pieces, just like her heart, now in utter panic and beyond control. Chapter 13. Willow drove everywhere she could think of, but no one knew where George had gone. She searched all the bars, restaurants, and cafes he usually liked to visit. An entire night passed, yet there was still no trace of him. She went to the real estate agent who handled the sale of the villa. The agent, trembling, told her, Mr. Wong listed the house for sale more than half a month ago. He seemed desperate to sell, so he let it go cheap. After signing the contract, I never saw him again. Everything else was left for me to handle. This was the house George had bought for her. He had once promised her that no matter how difficult things got, he would never touch it, because it held all their memories together. Yet now, this same George had sold the home where they had lived for 3 years. Willow hadn't closed her eyes all night. When dawn came, she went to the Wong family estate, only to find it deserted. Even George's father was gone. She recalled the rumors she had heard days ago. They said the Wong family had gone bankrupt. Wong's father was drowning in debt and wanted his son to marry into another family to pay it off, and was searching for the best candidate. When George's name came up back then, Willow's friends all sneered and mocked, even betting on which family George would end up marrying into. They called it marriage alliance, but in truth, It was just a polite term for a business transaction. Willow went to confront that group of friends, who were indulging themselves in luxury. Who did George end up marrying? Her blunt question left everyone dumbfounded. Even Makoto stared at her in disbelief. He had been calling her all day without reaching her, and now she barged in asking about George. Willow, why are you suddenly asking this? Who cares about the Wong family anymore? Yeah, Willow. And wasn't George always shamelessly clinging to you? There's no way he'd agree to a marriage alliance. Right, lately, we haven't heard about the Wong family getting close to anyone. Those families are all cunning. With the Wongs in this state, they're scrambling to cut ties. Who would want to marry George? Every word struck Willow's ears like a needle. What was wrong with her George? Handsome, capable, wasn't he far better than those idle rich boys? Makoto cautiously took Willow's wrist. Willow, what's wrong? Her chest rose and fell violently. In a hoarse voice, she said, I can't find George. Makoto frowned. What do you mean, can't find him? He's gone. At those words, Makoto felt a surge of secret joy. George had long deserved to disappear from Willow's life. Willow, stop thinking about him. Isn't it better that he's gone? You have me by your side now. He was probably forced by his father to marry into some nouveau riche family, trading himself for money. After all, right now, the most valuable thing the Wongs still have is him. Marry into another family. The word pierced Willow's heart like a blade. Her eyes betrayed her restless anxiety. She shook off Makoto's hand and stood up to leave. Seeing this, Makoto quickly followed. Willow, are you seriously going to look for him? Willow hesitated, then exhaled deeply. No matter what, he treated me well these past 3 years. I have to make sure he's all right. Willow, what's wrong with you? Don't tell me you've actually fallen for him. The one you truly want to marry is George. Don't let him fool you. I heard after his family went bankrupt, he was willing to marry into anyone's household for enough money. For all you know, he's happily lying in some woman's bed right now, counting the cash. Chapter 14. Willow gave him a cold glance. Makoto had never been like this before. He had never cared about the men who hovered around her, because he knew that no matter how many passed through her life, they were all just fleeting passers-by. She would only ever love him. That was the confidence of a rightful boyfriend. But George had made him feel insecure. Even though he claimed he didn't care about George, the sharpness of his words betrayed him. Makoto was startled by Willow's gaze. For a moment, he was speechless, left to watch helplessly as Willow drove away. Willow asked everywhere about George's whereabouts and sent people to track down Wong's father. As she recalled her past with George, she wondered, when had things gone wrong? That night George asked her to elope, at least when she replied with that single yes, she had meant it sincerely. She knew well that the Wong family's situation wasn't something a simple marriage alliance could solve. Yet Wong's father was intent on pushing his son into the fire pit. She had never worried George would give in. His relationship with his father had always been strained. He would never agree to marry a woman he didn't love. She had even thought, if things truly reached a dead end, she would give him money, enough to ensure he could live without worry, so he wouldn't have to do what he despised just for survival. But now, Willow suddenly wasn't sure anymore. Did she really understand George? The panic inside her heart was like an invisible net, entangling her every thought. Then something occurred to her. She drove to a high-end club and found George's only close friend there. In the 3 years they had been together, this was the only person George had introduced her to. His friend looked at her mockingly, lit a cigarette, his face devoid of expression. Looking for me for something? Where is George? She asked bluntly, her cold gaze fixed on him. The man froze for a moment, then sneered with a shake of his head, his voice dripping with mockery. You're just a woman he kept. And now you want to meddle in your benefactor's whereabouts. What's wrong? Can't find another sugar daddy as good as him. Willow's throat was dry. After a long moment, she finally found her voice again. Tell him to meet me. I have things to explain face to face. There might be some misunderstandings between us. Misunderstandings? What misunderstandings could there be? That you were secretly preparing to marry another man behind his back. That you lied about working part-time, when in fact you were tangled up with someone else. Or maybe, that you never once told him the truth about anything. Willow, think carefully. During the 3 years you were together, did he ever once wrong you? He liked you. That's why he suggested keeping you. But he never truly treated you as that kind of woman. He accommodated you in everything, shielded you, nearly broke ties with his father for your sake. People in the circle mocked him for caring about a club hostess, waiting to see him become a laughingstock. And even when his family went bankrupt, when he himself was nearly homeless and destitute, he still thought about leaving you a way out, so you wouldn't have to work yourself to exhaustion juggling jobs. But you, Miss Liu, you lied to him for 3 whole years. He gave you all his sincerity, and you fed it to the dogs. Chapter 15. Willow's heart trembled violently. He knew her true identity. Then George, did he know as well? George's friend looked at Willow with undisguised disgust. Don't think you can get George's whereabouts out of me. Truth is, I don't know where he went either. But wherever he is, it's better than staying by your side. You lied to him for 3 years. Do you feel proud of yourself? You let your boyfriend of 3 years suffer without lifting a finger. And you still dare to say you had feelings for him. But it doesn't matter anymore. George has his own path to follow. He's left this place, and you'll never find him again. His words stretched Willow's nerves taut. Her eyes reddened as she kicked over a nearby trash can. But no one paid her any attention. George's friend came out carrying a bag of things, which he threw onto her. These are what George left behind on his last night here. They must be the trash you gave him. Right, I'm giving them all back. Willow, you've got some nerve, handing out this kind of junk as gifts. What did you take him for? What had she taken him for? Willow stared at the scattered items, cheap ties, a watch, a collar pin, low-grade cologne, and fake flowers. Altogether, they were worth less than the tips she usually gave out at restaurants. And yet, George had treated these worthless things like treasures, carefully storing them, saying, "These are all gifts from you. I'll treasure them forever." Willow's eyes grew misty. She saw the silver ring George had once worn without fail. Later, when he stopped wearing it, she had even asked him why. So, from that moment, he had already resolved to leave her. When had George discovered her lies? She crouched down, picking up each item one by one. Though they were nothing but cheap trinkets, she held them to her chest like priceless treasures. Back at her villa, Willow fell gravely ill, calling George's name even in her fevered dreams. In the past, whenever she was sick, George had been more distressed than she was, staying by her side without leaving for a second. She unconsciously lifted her hand, as if to grasp something. Suddenly someone caught it. "Willow, I'm here." Her heart leapt wildly. She thought George had returned, but the moment she saw Makoto, the fleeting joy evaporated instantly. She quickly pulled her hand away. Makoto froze, frowning in disbelief. "Willow, you even call his name in your dreams. Don't tell me, you really fell in love with him." Something struck Willow. She frantically rummaged through the house until, at last, she found a dust-covered silver ring in the corner, the pair to the one she had given George. When George had given it to her, he had slipped it onto her finger himself. But she had made excuses, saying it wasn't convenient to wear at work, and she had left it aside until it was lost and forgotten. Only tonight did she remember. "Willow, where did you pick up this pile of junk? Let me throw it out for you." Makoto reached to toss it in the trash, but froze at Willow's furious glare. "Don't touch these things." Suppressing her anger, she snatched them back, cradling them in her palms like treasures. The sight made Makoto suck in a sharp breath. Makoto's temper flared too. "Willow, how long are you going to stay crazy? Have you forgotten that I'm your fiancé? Are you grieving over George right now? You were the one who asked to get married, it wasn't me begging you." Chapter 16. Facing Willow's coldness, Makoto's heart clenched once more. "Willow, you can't treat me like this. Didn't you say I was the only one in your heart? You clearly promised to marry me. Are you trying to go back on your word now? You love me, don't you? Have you forgotten? During the 3 years I was gone, you always kept a place for me in your heart. When the accident happened on the cruise ship, you abandoned the injured George to rush back to me and stayed at my side without leaving. That night when the club caught fire, George called you, but you ignored him. When I was in the car accident, you risked your life to run to me, begged them to save me first, and then you stayed, taking care of me. Don't you remember any of that? Your actions already prove that the one you love is me. You don't love George at all." "I love him." The words seemed to freeze the air. Even Willow herself was stunned. She had admitted her feelings for George. "Are you joking with me? Didn't you say he was just my substitute?" "Willow, are you telling me you actually fell in love with a substitute?" Willow closed her eyes. She didn't dare admit that on the night she proposed to Makoto, the one she had really been thinking of was George. She had imagined, if it were George, what would his reaction have been? Would he like it if a woman proposed to him first? Even while staying by Makoto's side, she couldn't help but wonder what George was doing at that moment. She had believed that if she fulfilled her past promise and married Makoto, she would gradually forget the 3 years she had spent with George. She had believed she didn't love George at all, that those 3 years had been nothing but a game. But after George vanished, the pain in her heart was unbearable. Just the thought that she might never see him again made it impossible to breathe. Willow clenched her fists tightly, her face growing pale. She took a deep breath. "I'm sorry, I lied to you." Makoto nearly broke down. He kicked over the trash can beside him in fury. "Willow, don't regret this. He's not the kind of man you think he is." He stormed out in rage. In the past, no matter who was right or wrong, whenever he got angry, she would always be the first to lower her head and apologize. But this time, he waited and waited, yet Willow never came after him. When their friends heard about the matter, they came to comfort her, only to find Willow staring blankly at the cheap gifts she had once given George. She said, "George had known my real identity all along, but he never exposed me. He just watched me act. I was so stupid. I should have realized sooner. She said, I've never regretted anything as much as I do now. I want to explain everything to him, but I can't find him. Where has he gone? Her voice was hoarse. Ever since learning George had left, she hadn't slept well. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the beautiful moments she had shared with him. He was the only one who didn't care about her identity or wealth, who treated her well regardless. Willow, I don't care what you are, because no matter what you are, I like you. George had loved confessing to her. His love had always been unconditional. But Willow wasn't the one you loved. Makoto, you waited 3 years for him, finally got him back, and now you're going to hurt him for George's sake. Do you really love George? Even though I think George doesn't deserve you, if he's the one you like, I'll support you. Honestly, you've been with him for 3 years. If there wasn't at least a little love, how could you have stayed that long? Chapter 17. Willow, actually, I heard who George's marriage alliance partner is. Supposedly, it's in Sea City, with the Sue family. Finally, someone couldn't hold it in and revealed the gossip they had just heard. Willow's expression instantly changed. In the Sue family of Sea City, the only girl of marriageable age was Anna Sue. Willow, it's not too late. If you really like him, go and get him back. Honestly, George isn't so bad. At least he was wholehearted with you. Sea City. The next time I saw Anna was 5 years later. Ever since the day at the airport when the Sue family brought me to the hotel, I had been left hanging for 3 full days. I knew I had no bargaining power with the Sue family. The fact they even agreed to the marriage was already an exception. I didn't mind the quiet. After all, this marriage wasn't something I had chosen for myself. If there had been another way, I never would have treated my marriage like a commodity with a price tag. A friend called me. George, how's it going over there? Did the Sue family treat you decently? Want me to come back you up? I chuckled. From now on, I couldn't be as reckless as I used to be. Willow came looking for me once, but don't worry, I didn't reveal your whereabouts to her. That woman acted all affectionate, and if I hadn't known she deceived you for 3 years, I might have believed she actually liked you. George, don't let a woman like that hurt you. It's not worth it. Besides, I heard she's fallen out with that Makoto guy. See, she doesn't love anyone. Lucky you realized the truth early. I didn't want to hear anything more about Willow. After chatting idly for a bit, I hung up the phone. As I turned around, I accidentally bumped into a soft figure. Sorry. When I looked up, my expression froze. 5 years had passed, and Anna was no longer the carefree, radiant girl in my memory. She carried a steadier air now, and those endless, fathomless eyes made my heart pound violently. Long time no see. I quickly adjusted my mood. Anna studied me with a distant expression, her voice cutting with cold mockery. Never thought I'd see the day you came begging me. The one who abandoned me back then was you, and now the one desperate to marry me is also you. I smiled and corrected her. I'm only following my father's orders to marry. As for who I marry, I don't care. It just so happens that the person is you. When I first heard it would be Anna, I had resisted, but I knew very well, with the Wong family situation now, I had no right to choose. And besides, if it was Anna, that was better than some other unworthy choice. Anna walked toward me step by step, forcing me back against the wall. Suddenly, she grabbed my tie and yanked me toward her. I immediately tensed. What are you doing? Getting the marriage certificate. No proposal, no wedding, no grand banquet, just the cold formality of registration. I thought that was fine too. Pretending to be affectionate with her in front of a crowd would have been too much to stomach anyway. After we left the civil affairs office, Anna tossed me a bank card. No limit. Spend it however you want. From now on, we live our own lives separately. Don't bother me unless necessary. Chapter 18. For an entire week after we got the marriage certificate, I didn't see Anna again, nor did the Sue family ask to meet me. To be honest, I had always been doubtful of this marriage alliance. How could the Sue family possibly accept me? 5 years ago, the Wong family had already faced a crisis. At that time, my mother was gravely ill, clinging to life. That was when Madame Sue appeared before me. You're not worthy of our Sue family. Here's 50 million. Take the money and leave her. It was the first time in my life I had been so humiliated that I couldn't lift my head. But back then, the Wong family needed me. My mother needed me even more. And so 50 million bought my first love. 50 million severed everything between Anna and me. Later, when Anna clung to me desperately, I said every cruel word I could think of until she finally gave up. These past 5 years, whenever I was entangled with Willow, I always thought of Anna. Everything I had never managed to do for Anna, I gave to Willow instead. Willow had treated me like a substitute. But wasn't I the same, projecting my guilt toward Anna onto Willow? Because the first time Willow looked at me, her gaze was so much like Anna's, and I became hopelessly addicted. I had never told anyone this. Looking back, both times the Wong family fell into crisis, it was Anna who saved me. The first time, I revived the Wong family with the 50 million Madame Sue gave me. But this time, I wouldn't be as lucky as I was 5 years ago. Just when I thought life would pass quietly, Anna finally reappeared. Once I got in the car, I asked, "Where are we going?" "Dinner." She was still neither warm nor cold. I didn't press further. Anna never did anything without a reason. She wouldn't invite me to dinner without a purpose. The car stopped at an upscale restaurant. Anna and I entered one after the other. It seemed like just another business dinner. During the meal, Anna placed food on my plate and handed me a bowl of soup, reminding me, "It's hot. Wait until it cools before drinking." That gentle care felt like stepping back into 5 years ago. I stayed silent, playing along with her act of deep affection. I lowered my head, quietly eating my food, and didn't notice the waiter approaching. As I stood up, I collided hard with him. Scalding hot soup spilled down my arm, and I winced slightly in pain. Anna immediately stood up. Her expression panicked as she gripped my wrist. She quickly pulled me to the washroom, running cold water over the burn. When she saw the blisters rising on my skin, her face turned anxious. "I'm fine. Don't let it interrupt your dinner," I said. "Shut up." She returned to the private room and said calmly, "Sorry, I'll have to take my husband to the hospital. I'll pay a visit another day." By the time we finished at the hospital, night had already fallen. Anna followed me into the house. I was surprised she wasn't in a hurry to leave, so eager to get rid of me. "Too bad. We're married now. Even if you're unwilling, you'd better at least put effort into pretending." I was speechless. It wasn't that I was unwilling, I was simply stunned by her sudden change in attitude. "Our marriage alliance is known to everyone. I don't want people saying the Sue family mistreated you." I understood then. From now on, we would have to play the part of a loving couple in front of outsiders. Chapter 19. Once my injury had mostly healed, Anna began taking me to meet her circle of friends. She would dine with me, go shopping, watch movies, and occasionally we would stroll together, talking about work-related matters, but she never once mentioned anything from 5 years ago. I noticed Anna's change, and it left me perpetually unsettled. I worried that one day, once she grew tired of the act, we would return to that same cold, deadlocked relationship from before. One late night, just as I was about to fall asleep, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. "Come pick Anna up. She's drunk, and she won't stop causing a scene." When I arrived, Anna was leaning by a window, chain-smoking one cigarette after another. One of her close friends pulled me aside and whispered, "She's like this every year on this day, completely wasted. Every time we ask why, she refuses to say a word. I think this date must mean something special to her. She already vomited once, but who knows if she's sober now." I nodded, thanked her, and quietly walked over. Anna's gaze was unfocused. When she saw me, she thought she was dreaming again. She rubbed her eyes hard, then laughed to herself. "Why are you here? Didn't you not want me anymore? Didn't you not want me?" Her voice carried a childishness I hadn't heard in years, and it pressed heavy on my chest. It took me no small effort to coax Anna back home. After a night of tossing and turning, she slipped into her nightmares again. "Don't go, please. I'll do anything, just don't leave me. I was wrong. Can't you give me another chance, please?" Her drowsy voice reached me, and I immediately gripped her hand, whispering softly, "Anna, wake up. It's just a bad dream." Suddenly, she opened her eyes, staring blankly at me. Then she cupped my face and pulled me toward her. Her kiss struck me like a storm, fierce and overwhelming, leaving me almost breathless. At first, I struggled, but eventually, as she pressed me down, my strength to resist ebbed away. Only later did I realize, this day was the anniversary of the day I broke up with her 5 years ago. Our breakup anniversary. When I woke, Anna was already gone. In the trash bin, I spotted an empty package of contraceptive pills. I gave a bitter smile. By evening, Anna's car was parked outside. One phone call, and she had summoned me down. "There's an important banquet tonight. You're coming with me." I didn't refuse. This was my duty as her husband. Whether it was because of last night or simply because we had nothing to say to each other, the atmosphere in the car felt especially distant. Anna brought me to change into a tailored suit. Just as we were about to leave, I felt a sudden chill at my fingertip. A wedding ring slid onto the ring finger of my left hand. If we're putting on a show, we might as well do it properly. With that, she released me. The banquet was no different from the others I had attended. Clinking glasses, endless toasts, just another stage for the elite. No one paid attention to me in the corner. After a few drinks, I grew weary and slipped outside to find some air. The night breeze cooled my face, chasing away the warmth. I walked a few steps forward, then froze. Was I seeing things? I blinked hard. The person before me looked exactly like Willow. Chapter 20. George. Willow came forward and grabbed my hand, her palm so hot it nearly burned me. "I finally found you. They said you married into the Sue family, but I couldn't find you there. Luckily, I actually ran into you here." Her face glowed with joy as she held my hand, unwilling to ever let go again. On the way to find me, she had silently vowed to apologize, beg for my forgiveness, and never leave me again. But when she saw the ring on my finger, her eyes suddenly turned blood red. Her reason drowned in panic within an instant. Other than the ring I gave you, you're not allowed to wear anyone else's. She tried to snatch the ring off my hand, but with my head splitting in pain, I flung her away and instinctively turned to leave. Unexpectedly, I bumped straight into Anna. Anna clasped my hand, her indifferent gaze fixed on Willow. If my husband doesn't wear the ring I gave him, is he supposed to wear one from some stray woman outside? Willow's face went dark instantly. Don't spout nonsense here. He's my boyfriend. What right do you have to hold his hand? Already shaken by my cold indifference, hearing the word husband sent Willow over the edge. Her chest heaved violently, and she looked as though she wanted to tear me away from Anna by force. George loves only me. Don't think you can steal him from me. Let him go. Willow rushed over, reaching for my arm, but Anna deftly blocked her. The clash between the two jolted my foggy mind into clarity. At last, I clearly saw Willow's enraged face, but the way I looked at her was calm, detached, like I was staring at a stranger. Willow, we've already broken up. I'm not your boyfriend. You were nothing more than my pastime when I was lonely and bored. Besides, didn't you already propose to Makoto? That proposal ceremony, even I was moved watching it. Congratulations. After 3 years of waiting, you finally get to marry him. Willow froze on the spot, her fingertips trembling violently. That night's proposal, he had seen it. No, it's not what you think, George. I admit it. I was blinded by old feelings. I thought I loved him, but now I realize, I only clung to him out of pride. The one I like is you. The one I want to marry is you. I know there are so many misunderstandings between us. I lied to you, but I can explain everything. Can't you just not abandon me? I never meant to hide my identity. When I finally wanted to tell you, the right time had already passed. And then Makoto came back, and everything fell into chaos. George, I regret it so much. I shouldn't have stood by when your family was in trouble, and I should never have let you be forced to marry someone you didn't love. Please, can't you give me another chance? The only answer in my eyes was mockery and a deep, bitter cold. Willow, do you know what I regret most in these 3 years? My biggest regret is ever believing you were different from the others. But I was wrong. You're no different at all. You disgust me. Chapter 21. After my family fell into crisis, I was forced into a marriage alliance. At that time, everyone was waiting to see me make a fool of myself. Even when I was at my weakest, I was still thinking about treating her well. For the past 3 years, I truly believed she was a pitiful girl with no parents and nowhere to go. Every time I saw someone bullying her, I wanted to fight them to the death. Granted, at the very beginning, I might have had my own selfish reasons for choosing her, but in those 3 years, I was sincere. At the very least, I never wronged her. Even if she gave me cheap gifts, I would carefully treasure them, thinking that since she didn't have much money, her willingness to spend on me was proof of her feelings. But later, after Makoto came back, everything changed. The Willow I once knew disappeared. Cold wind brushed against my cheeks, slowly clearing my head. Looking at the pain-stricken Willow before me, I let out a mocking smile. Willow, that night, you knew I came to the club looking for you, didn't you? You're the owner there. Your people would have reported it. You must have known I might have heard all those mocking words. And when Makoto came to me, all those little schemes behind my back, you knew it all. Yet you still chose to believe him unconditionally, even knowing he was just putting on an act. My tone was icy, yet my voice carried a laugh that few could understand. That's not true, Willow tried to explain, but I cut her off coldly. It's because, in your heart, he was always more important. That's why you ignored his schemes against me. At the cruise dinner, was it really just coincidence those people came to make trouble for me? And then the car accident, you knew he was certain you'd never abandon him. So tell me, with what right do you say you love me? You only ever treated me as his substitute. Weren't those your exact words to him? In an instant, Willow's face went ghostly pale. She staggered forward, trying to grasp something, but caught nothing. George, that's not true. I love you. I've long since fallen for you. Are you still angry at me for not helping you? That's why I came here today, to take you away. You don't have to bow your head to your family's arrangement. I can protect you. I chuckled lightly, shaking my head. Too late, Willow. I'm already married. Besides, no one ever forced me into this marriage alliance. I agreed to it of my own will. I couldn't care less about you standing by and watching. What I cared about was 3 years of deception and indifference. Willow stared at me, then suddenly laughed. So you're that eager to marry Anna? You keep saying I lied to you, but how many truths did you tell me? You probably never realized, every time you were dead drunk, clinging to me, crying in my arms, you kept calling out another woman's name, didn't you? We were nothing more than stand-ins for each other. More than once I wanted to confront you, but I swallowed it down because I didn't want to destroy what we had. My gaze turned even colder, each word slamming into her heart like a hammer. Since you already knew, there's no need to keep suffering. Between us, it ends here. Willow, don't ever come pestering me again. Next time, I won't be so polite. Willow stood frozen, stunned. By the time she regained her senses and tried to stop me, Anna shoved her harshly aside. Tears streamed down her face as her eyes followed George, desperately wishing he would look back at her one more time, but he never did. Chapter 22. I was utterly exhausted, without even the strength to utter another word. Just as I entered the house, Anna blocked my way and shoved me against the wall. Didn't expect that after we broke up, you'd play so wildly, keeping a mistress, using substitutes for one another. Whose substitute did you treat her as? Her gaze made my chest tighten, unsettling me, and I blurted out, at least not yours. Did I say it was me? What are you so guilty about? Anna's pale fingers slid across my waist, teasing yet filled with undeniable firmness. Your taste in women has only gotten worse. Slept with her for 3 years, and in the end, all you got was cold indifference when you were cornered. Toyed with by a woman for 3 years, George. Since when did you become so stupid? Her scorn stoked my anger. Enraged and humiliated, I lifted her onto my shoulder, carried her upstairs, and tossed her onto the bed. My breath enveloped her instantly. I kissed her forcefully, while Anna, in a foul mood, bit down irritably on my lip. Instead of retreating, I deepened the kiss. George, no more running. I don't have the patience to wait for you again and again. Her punishing bite at the corner of my lips carried that sentence into me. Yet my oxygen-starved mind failed to process it. By the time dawn broke, Willow had been sitting motionless in her car outside all night. She watched with her own eyes as George and Anna entered the villa and never came back out. And the dread inside her only grew stronger. Could George really have married Anna? Impossible. The Sue family would never keep a wedding so low profile. She hadn't heard a single word of any recent Sue family celebrations. Surely George was just trying to anger her by pretending. And yet she couldn't help recalling that name George had once mumbled drunkenly in his sleep. Could there really be such coincidences in this world? Willow bit down on her lip so hard that blood seeped into her mouth. But she didn't even notice. The lies she had once told him now turned into sharp arrows, piercing her heart until it bled. Her mind was blank, until at noon the villa door finally opened. George walked out with Anna. At Anna's signal, I ignored Willow entirely and got into the car. Unwilling to give in, Willow rushed forward to grab me, only to be pushed aside by Anna. Miss Lou, don't covet someone else's husband. Anna's tone was calm, but filled with threat. Willow's reddened eyes nearly blazed with fire. Not married, yet you call him husband. He only agreed to this alliance because he was forced. The one who should restrain herself is you. And let me tell you straight, his heart has always belonged to someone else. The reason he chose you was just because your name happens to be the same as hers. Do you really think he likes you? Willow's endurance snapped. She slapped her hand across Anna's face, but Anna dodged, and instead Willow received a fierce slap in return. She staggered and fell to the ground, scrambling up to fight back. When the car door opened, I stepped out, my gaze cold as it landed on Willow. Have you had enough? Willow stared at me in disbelief, her eyes instantly turning red. George, she hit me, and you don't care at all, yet you come to scold me. How long have you even known her? Can that outweigh our 3 years together? Do you even have a heart? Chapter 23. And what about you? We were together for 3 years, and you deceived me for 3 years. Did you ever have a heart? My voice was so calm, stripped of all emotion, that Willow felt herself sinking into despair. Once upon a time, George would have trusted her unconditionally no matter what she did. He had even told her that in the future, even if she made mistakes, he would forgive her. But now, everything had grown distant, shattered by her own hands. She was the one who tore apart the special treatment George had once given her. I told Anna to get into the car first, then looked coldly at the frantic Willow. Willow, I thought I made things clear last night. What makes you so certain I can't let go of you? Where does your confidence come from? When you lied again and again about taking part-time jobs but were actually spending time with Makoto. When you pretended to be poor and ignored my struggles. When your friends sneered at me right in front of you. When you proposed to Makoto behind my back. You lied so easily, as though I never mattered. And now, what are you trying to stir up again? Weren't you so in love with Makoto? You tattooed a ring close to your heart for him, yet lied that it was for me. And I actually believed it. Touched, thinking I had to treat you even better. What did I ever do wrong to you, that you still refuse to let me go? Keep this up and it'll only hurt us both. Stop clinging. Willow's eyes were red, her throat dry, and she could not form a single word. Seeing that I was about to leave again, she suddenly tore open her collar, pulled out a knife, and dug at the tattoo near her heart. Pain blurred her consciousness, yet she still stared at me, face pale, lips curved in a trembling smile. George, if you don't like it, then I don't want it either. Blood gushed from the wound, staining her white shirt, but I remained unmoved. It was too late. Whatever she did now was futile. Stop acting insane. And for the record, I've known her longer than I've known you. By order of time alone, you have no right to interfere with her. Willow collapsed to the ground in agony, but I didn't spare her another glance. I turned and got into the car. As the car sped past her, she sobbed until her eyes were swollen red. This time, it seemed she truly couldn't win him back. Inside the car, Anna was thoughtful. Before she could speak, I cut in first. Don't overthink it. I only said those things so she'd stop pestering me. I had already slipped back into my businesslike tone with her. Anna slowly curved her lips into a smile. Then who was it last night? Clutching my hand in bed and refusing to let go. Wasn't that because you forced me? Besides, you believe the words of a drunk man. I only know that drunken words speak the truth. Last night, at the height of passion, George had clung to her desperately, peppering her neck with furious kisses as though in revenge, demanding why she agreed to the marriage alliance. She had comforted him the whole night. When his stomach turned in the middle of the night and he vomited all over her, she tended to him until dawn. And yet the moment the sun rose, he acted as though nothing had happened. Anna, our marriage is nothing but a transaction. I will always remember that fact, and I hope you will too. The air inside the car froze instantly. Anna's smile faded, replaced by suffocating cold. George, are you afraid you'll fall for me, or are you afraid your disgrace from 5 years ago, trading me away for 50 million, will be exposed? Chapter 24. I felt my body trembling uncontrollably. 5 years had passed, and this was the one thing I had buried deep in my heart, deliberately avoiding, refusing to face. If I could, I wished Anna would never know. If she hated me forever, that would have been fine. You think that secretly returning the 50 million erases what happened? Anna had known everything all along. The pity was, she found out too late. She remembered half a year ago, just before her mother's death. Her mother had called her alone to the bedside. The dying woman's mind was already muddled. Yet she still clearly remembered the day she had forced George away. All these years, you've been alone. Not a single man by your side. Whenever marriage was mentioned, you'd brush it off, saying there was no rush. But I know, your heart has always been tied to that man. Anna, I never understood. What is it about him that makes you hold on so tightly? Anna had grown increasingly silent before her mother. But that day, she finally learned the truth of George's departure. The Wang family was on the brink of collapse, and his mother needed money to stay alive. So I exploited his weakness. I offered him money to leave you. He agreed. He took the money and walked away, never to return. A man like that isn't worth your love. To him, your relationship could be measured in money. I heard he's been keeping some young woman, their bond steady and close. While you were still thinking of him, he had long forgotten you. Watching you these years has been painful. You've changed completely. Sometimes I wondered if I was wrong back then. But if I had to choose again, I'd still do the same. You are the sole heir of the Su family. Marriage was never yours to decide. That was the first time Anna learned the truth of their breakup. She had never been able to believe George would be so heartless. Now she discovered it had been her mother behind it all. Those cruel words George had once thrown at her still rang in her ears. Words so vicious they made him unrecognizable. 4 years. She had wondered what had changed him into that person. Only now did she realize it had been out of helplessness. It was her mother who forced him into that decision. He had no other path to take. But 2 years later, he returned the money. All of it. I admit, he wasn't as bad as I thought. But as my husband, he was never qualified. Anna had not felt anger at this revelation. She had simply watched her mother close her eyes forever after saying those words. Once she had taken care of the funeral arrangements, Anna buried herself in work, forcing herself not to think of George, until the Wang family collapsed. Rumors spread that Wang's father was hunting for a marriage alliance to save them. That was when Anna finally made her move. She went to Wang's father and promised to help the family survive the crisis. In return, she secured his consent. A month ago, when she heard George had agreed, her heart had leapt, nervous, conflicted, delighted, surprised. No one could have predicted that 5 years later, they would reunite in this way. George, once, you betrayed me. You sold me for money. So, how do you intend to repay me now? I completely panicked. I thought I had hidden it well, but she knew everything. How did you? I can let go of the past, but don't think you can ever leave me again. And don't think this is just a transaction. I, Anna Su, will never marry a man without love. She had spent half a year seizing control of Su Corp and the Su family's influence, all for one reason, so that one day, she could marry the men she loved. Her marriage would be hers to decide. Faced with this near-confessional threat, my face went pale. No wonder the Su family had agreed to the marriage. Su's mother was already gone. From the moment I agreed to the alliance, I suspected she might only want revenge for the past. That was why I constantly reminded myself not to harbor any feelings. I dared not let myself feel anything for Anna. I dared not imagine even the smallest chance between us. But things turned out completely different than I had expected. Anna, do you not hate me? Anna's tone was calm, almost flat. Hate? At my worst, I hated you so much I wished we could die together. Her eyes softened, her voice a whisper yet a thunderclap in my chest. But I love you even more. Chapter 25. Ever since Anna's sudden confession that day, my attitude toward this marriage had changed drastically. Anna had saved me twice, 5 years ago, And again 5 years later. The circumstances were eerily similar, and each time, it was only thanks to her that I made it through. So, I had nothing to complain about. I was the one who had wronged her first. Whatever she did to me now was justified. Anna took me back to the Sue household, personally introducing me to her family as her husband. I could see clearly that the Sue family held great dissatisfaction toward me, but they dared not speak it aloud. Later, she publicly announced my identity, boldly taking me to all sorts of public events. Everyone praised us as a well-matched, loving couple. At her side, I worked hard to play the role of a husband. Sometimes, I couldn't even tell if I was still acting, or if it was genuine emotion. A month later, I saw the news of Willow's death in a WeChat post, followed by a call from my friend. You must have heard, right? After Willow came back, she grew extremely depressed. Makoto refused to believe that Willow truly didn't love him. He kept pressuring her to marry him, trying to prove she cared, but Willow broke up with him directly, which enraged him. Makoto probably loved and hated Willow all at once. He couldn't let her go. He humbled himself and begged her, but she publicly rejected him. Still wanting to prove she loved him, he staged a car accident. As he wished, Willow did rush in to save him, but she herself was gravely injured and died instantly, without even a chance at resuscitation. We all think Willow walked right into his trap, deliberately rushing toward death. George, what happened when she came to find you? Anyway, after the way she treated you, dying at Makoto's hands was just her fate. Willow was the Liu family's only daughter. Makoto is probably finished now. My throat tightened painfully, but I only said one thing. She's gone. Let's not bring her up again. I heard that. Later, Willow tattooed my name in the very same place where she once had Makoto's. That patch of skin was ruined beyond recognition. Yet my name remained perfectly clear. The past scattered with the wind. With Willow's death, everything finally faded away. On the 3rd month of our marriage, I suddenly gave Anna a grand proposal ceremony. Even if you keep saying you don't need it, what others have, you must have too. I knelt on one knee, my gaze both nervous and hopeful. This was the proposal I hadn't managed 5 years ago, and at last, I could fulfill that regret. Anna's eyes welled with tears, her heart pounding wildly. Every night she lay beside George, she would wonder what kind of bond had brought the two of them back to this point. The truth was, it was Anna's silent efforts all along, her persistence, that gave George the chance and the courage to start again with her. Anna, we missed so much. But no matter what happened in these 5 years, nothing has ever changed the one person I truly wanted to marry. Will you marry me? I looked at her, recalling our happy past together. Back then, I had been insecure, always asking her how much she loved me. In the first year after our breakup, I couldn't sleep. Nightmares plagued me. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her last look, disappointment mixed with anger. Those eyes, which I had once loved most, had become the thing I feared most. Later, when she and I registered our marriage, though her words were sharp and cutting, she had never truly hurt me. It was Anna who gave me the hope to begin again. Without her, I don't know where I would have ended up. Those 5 years apart now felt like nothing more than a ridiculous dream. When I woke, she was still the one by my side. Tears filled Anna's eyes as she nodded. I will. This time, I finally married the one who had always been hidden in my heart.